All right, guys. So I've been informed that we've got some passive aggression going on in my direction, and as well as a couple of other people that I talk to regularly. So we're gonna check out this video and see what's going on. It should be amusing.
A new year and I have a new resolution, and that's that I'm not going to be the bigger person in situations. So some of you, this might be a little funny, but yeah, some of you I'm going to bash right now.
I think I've already heard this. I think she had a video saying this exact same thing before, and it was a short or something. I could be wrong though.
You know, the fake SJWs, Maxine, the pseudo intellectuals, Rash, the wannabe political activists, not activists, analysts, trubs. You can't seem to stop whining about my streams.
Now, this is a direct lie, and she's well aware of it. In fact, I've addressed this in the past, and other people who didn't know that kind of got sucked into her drama actually came out at the end was like, "Oh, I didn't know. Yeah, it is true that she's just trying to like drum up drama. It seems to be what Angela's doing here." No, I've never talked about her streams. In fact, I've actually, as I said in the previous video, went out of my way to give attention to her streams. As a matter of fact, in my Discord group, there's an entire fucking channel dedicated specifically to Angela's live streams. Now, it hasn't been added to for a while because I haven't really been active there for much lately, but still, it kind of illustrates my point here. And in my video, I basically said that you're, well, I went over the two possibilities. One, you're completely like taking things the wrong way when I made a general comment about uh I don't do what was the words? I don't do like Jerry Springer type dumpster fire content on my live streams, which was intended only to let people know not to bring that shit to my streams. That's it. So she took it as if it was like her that I was talking about, and I actually addressed this. So either she misunderstood what I meant and just automatically assumed I was talking about her, which I wasn't, or she was doing this faux outrage thing to drum up like uh drama, because drama is king here. Like when it comes, if your goal is to just get views at any cost, doesn't matter, that's what you're going to do. So I left it open. I didn't directly claim that's what she was doing, but now I'm starting to see that that is the case. She's so fake. So let's continue this right now.
You know what? Maxine called Rashton an intellectual giant. I pretty much rolled on the floor laughing, but she also brought to my attention that he called me some kind of a hypocrite. But back to the fact that or opinion that he's an intellectual giant, that made me roll on the floor laughing because you know what? Rash, you have the intellectual, I don't know, prowess as Tex-Mex. Okay? You do. And in fact, you're the same in many ways. You're two hypocritical mental midgets. So you are mental midgets. You call people bigots and then you spout hatred. And you curse at women. Okay?
So if you want to show that someone is like intellectually inferior in some way, what you do, the last thing you do is throw out ad hominem attacks at them like this. Call them a mental midget without any sort of like elaboration as to specifically why they are. See, this is just typical like right-wing, like it's this generic like throw out insults and like, ha, I owned you. Yet they don't realize this only makes you look like a fucking retard. Now, notice how right now this is perfect example. I just said that you're a fucking retard, right? And then you'll go, oh, you're doing the same thing. It's not the same thing because I don't just call you a retard and leave it at that and then continue on with more insults. I used fucking retard after explaining in detail why what you're doing is retarded. Do you understand the difference there? So you just basically called Rash Dawn an intellectual midget, yet you did not explain why. Then you pivoted and went to another ad hominem saying that he something about bashing women. All of this is just a typical, it's like a politician's fucking smear campaign. You have not in one, and even in the slightest, shown that Rash is an intellectual midget. In order to do so, you need to take something that Rash uses as like an intellectual paradigm of some sort, or like an intellectual premise that he's put forth, and explain why that premise is intellectually flawed. And it's even better if you can do that on numerous topics. But you don't, because you don't have the ability to do so. You're just throwing out random attacks, which goes back to what I said before, and that you're not real. This is fake. You're trying to just cause drama for the sake of causing drama so that you can get views, which is sad. It's pathetic. Well, let's continue.
So coming from Rash John, I'd expect that, but remember, I'm not holding anything back here. You're a bigot. You dictate what people should believe in based on their color, their race, their religion, what's in between their legs, and their sexual orientation. That's really bigoted. You're the type to quote people on Uncle Tom. You really are. You know, it's disgusting. You're a religious nut. And as for you, Max, you know, believing that someone who does that kind of stuff is some kind of a hero or intellectual giant, that just speaks to your immaturity.
So I've seen no evidence of any of these claims, and I can only speak of my own personal experience. I don't think I've ever seen Rash, and it should be clear, I am not the type of person to just blanket defend people ever. I have never, honestly, never seen Rash do any of the kind of shit that you're claiming. Any sort of bigotry or like extreme like chauvinism or anything. Like I haven't seen it. It's possible that it's happened like while I've been away, and I have been away for a decent amount of time, but usually people don't change that much. So I would be willing to bet that Rash and other people would say, yeah, this is just you drumming up like a smear campaign against them, and it's not based on anything real. I think that's more likely than not. I'm not going to say that, but it seems to be the case based on my own firsthand knowledge and what I know about Rash. It's very odd. Rash and I disagree fairly often. He's still someone that I consider a friend, but like, I don't have this sort of thing, and I don't with anyone on this entire fucking planet where I just automatically agree with them. So this isn't some sort of tribalistic thing, but it does seem to be the case for you. So you do this thing where it's like someone is nice to you, then they're a good person. That's not how things work. A lot like most people who just constantly like act polite are trying to manipulate you in some way. So I've always made the case that I much prefer people who will directly state what they think about me just right out in front. I respect that far more than people who are just like agree with everything I say, because that's not going to happen with anyone. You're not going to have someone agree with every single damn position that you hold unless you're fake and you just do these cookie cutters like cookie cutter political positions where I agree with everything someone on the left says. I agree with everything people on the right say. Like that's common. But anyway, like the point I'm making is I have not seen any of this at all. And I would love to see some sort of evidence that this is the case. Like, and I don't mean knowledge like from people like firsthand experience shit, because people lie all the fucking time, especially if you have this tribalistic herd mentality where you're part of this group and you exclude people, the others. And like in your little tribalistic group, you like all of your people will just automatically back up everything you say just because you're one of theirs, so to speak, which is just, you tend to see that in people with extremely low IQ. Yeah, let's continue.
But what do you expect from someone who jokes around about child molestation?
Yet again, I've never seen anything like this. And I think that it's highly likely she's taking him out of context. Although I would be happily be willing to admit I was wrong if there's any sort of evidence there.
Yeah, I don't want to get. I said I'm not going to be the bigger person. Okay, fine. So I'll get more into it. Rash Don, you like to call people pedos who don't agree with your worldview.
I have seen him make that accusation before, but I don't know if it was based on anything, like in any legitimate backing to it or not. I don't really know his whole side or anything, but I can confirm that he's made that accusation before. That's about it. I will say that as a general rule of thumb, I don't agree with using the pedo insult without any sort of evidence to back it.
You live in Malaysia, so I think that's you projecting.
What does that mean? That's like a racist comment from hell. Because someone lives in Malaysia, they're like more likely to be a pedophile or some shit.
And I mean this deeply. Fuck you. You are a radical religious nut. I'm not conforming to whatever ideology you believe that I'm bound to based on my genitalia. You know what? If I was immature as you, I'd take a page out of your book and I'd call your mother a European sellout who should have had maybe I shouldn't say it, but maybe she should have had an abortion to avoid such a confused, radical, soulless asshole. And then moving on, Shrubs, I'd like to say, I really don't have a problem with you, but you seem really sad. You seem really down lately. You had no problem with me before the election results. Is it because you made a false prediction on who would win?
I didn't have a problem with you even afterward. All of this shit is all up in your head, as I covered in the video. Yeah. So you're doing this weird thing where you're looking for like, what was it that caused Trobs to change? I haven't changed. Like it's all like some weird shit you got going on in your head. So you, at some point, I think it was when I made my advertisement in the chat that I've went over again at length in the video, and you seemed to like it. It didn't even matter. Like you just ignored it all and just went with your conspiracy theory. So you believed that like I was talking about you when I wasn't, when I made the case that or said that I don't do dumpster fires in my live streams, which again was only to try to make sure that those type of people didn't come because they're not welcome and I wasn't really going to tolerate that kind of shit. I even said in my previous video that there's nothing wrong with that. And I stand by that. It's perfectly fine. I don't do that shit though. I have at no time from back whenever, even when you first had that belief that I was talking about you, even afterward, I never had a problem with you. Not until right now when you're starting to show your true colors. So you're masking it as this is my New Year's resolution. I'm just going to decide that I'm not going to put up with shit anymore. There's no shit to put up with. It's all concocted by your fucking head. That's another thing. Right wingers have this weird tendency to like not live in reality. They tend to like, like you've heard the tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist. There's a reason why that's associated with the right. it's like you bring streams of like UFOs and shit and fucking weird pseudoscience, like fucking trying to act like fucking night terrors have something to do with like magic or demons and shit. Like you can't make this shit up. So the moment you let me explain how this works. The moment you try to say that someone else is a pseudo intellectual, you need to be able to defend yourself on the same grounds. And I'm sorry to say this, Angela, you do not have what it takes to get into any sort of intellectual debate with anyone. As a matter of fact, because you've decided after I gave you an out, I gave you the opportunity to go, okay, yeah, he said that, it wasn't about me. I'll just take him at his word, which all the evidence shows that it wasn't about you. You could have just right then been like, okay, I took things too far and I thought that he was talking about me. He doesn't really have a problem with me. In fact, like he said, he's actually tried to like advertise for me. You could have stopped right then. And instead you decided to like fucking drama monger even farther. So you're trying to use me to drum up drama, which is fucking pathetic, by the way. That shows the type of person that you are. But because you went that far, now you've opened the door. So I'm going to just say it straight up. Come to my stream and do your best to debate me on a topic of your choice that we disagree on. And I guarantee you, I will absolutely annihilate you with almost no effort at all. And that does not make you everyone knows, everyone watching this knows that that's what'll happen. But it doesn't make you a victim because you fucking pushed it to this point. You created the drama, not me. I did nothing. I just carry on doing my own content like I always do. Maybe I said some shit in my videos when I was talking generically that offended you. And if so, then you're probably the type of people that I was talking about. Now, if you're offended by that, you need to drop your tribalism and your whole my side shit and fucking grab a little bit of self-awareness. Anyway, let's continue here.
And you set up your whole, like Maxine, do the same shit. Because you're obviously hurt. You're hurting bad. And you're coming after me, and you can't keep my name out of your mouth.
I haven't used your name at all before now. You are such a lying piece of shit. Like, why do you lie just to get attention? It's sad. I would never do shit like that.
And you know what? I'm not going to come on your stream. It's
Of course you're not, because you'll know you'll be fucking annihilated. So okay, I love how this happened. So you decide to try to call me out, even though you have absolutely nothing to back what you're claiming. It's just this whole tribal bullshit mentality, which is pretty common on the right, honestly. It happens on the left too, but it's far more common on the right. But you do all this shit talking, even after I squashed the shit before and made it clear that there's nothing really for you to be concerned about. It seems to be this is all like you have this paranoid fear that I'm attacking you, which never happened. Not even once. Never happened. Keep my name out of, or keep your name out of my mouth. I haven't used your name at all. Period. At all. This is all you fucking lying.
filled with sad people and hate, and most importantly, whining.
Projection. There is no hate coming from me. As a matter of fact, what I tend to do is I focus on the people that are causing the hate. It's really rich that a person that like is on the side of racism and bigotry, you are talking about other people hating. Like how hilarious that is.
And it's watched by the usual gang of idiots. Okay, so I don't discuss politics on my streams anymore.
Because you'll lose, because you know nothing about politics, because you don't have the brain to even understand half of what it is. You just do this cookie cutter emotional shit. That's why.
And we also don't call each other pedophiles.
Maybe that's in reference to Rash, which again, I pretty much already addressed, but I don't call people pedophiles if that's what she's trying to claim.
So, you know what? I'll leave you with this. Have a great time bashing me on your streams. You are the CNN of chats, and that's no compliment. Try to keep your heads up and my name out of your mouths. Peace.
So, anyone can basically back me on this. I haven't, even on any of my streams, mentioned you at all, especially in any sort of negative way. If I've brought you up at all, it has not been in any sort of insulting context. So, yet again, you're lying on purpose. You're either delusional and you have this weird conspiracy theory shit, or I'm beginning to think this is more likely. You're just fucking lying to just fucking drum up fucking drama because that's all you care about. You're just here to do this like fucking this is my side and these are against me type shit. Notice that I have people from the opposing side all the time on my live streams and I give them a voice. And I even stop people on quote my side if I think that they're not allowing them to speak. I do it all the time. So, yeah, I discuss politics and I've never, not once have I ever claimed that I don't have an agenda. Basically, everyone does. But when you have like a debate type format and what you're doing is you're trying to convince people that you have a more logical position than your opponent. It's what it's all about. There's nothing wrong with that. So, yeah, you don't engage in that sort of stuff because you know absolutely nothing about it. Like it's indicative of like whenever you came on and you were in chat, I was in a live stream, and you were talking about how you didn't think that the things that I said were actually going to happen. You didn't think it was any of it was true, and it was me talking about how the economy was basically going to crash under Trump, which will happen. We'll all see. And yeah, so you're just saying like, oh, that's not going to happen, but you don't understand why I think that. You have it's like the Dunning-Kruger effect. You don't know anything about the subject matter. You just go, oh, Donald Trump sounds kind of cool, and he says it like it is. It's all like this really surface layer ignorant shit where you don't actually know anything about what you're talking about. That's the difference between you and I. I back what I say and even provide examples and context that support me. You just run your mouth. Like this whole video, not at one point in this entire video was there any evidence to back anything you said or any supporting logical premises. It was all just attack, attack, attack. Yet you tried to make it as if you are the victim when no, you're not. You just attacked a bunch of people without any, from my point of view, without any sort of relevant fucking support at all. It seems like your whole MO is to like do this rift thing to where you're trying to get certain people, especially on the right, to join your cause because you don't like the things that I say, even though I back up the things that I say with evidence. Yet you don't do the same in return. You're just fake as fuck. So I'm sure some people feel bad for you at this point. But again, as I already said, you have no one to blame but yourself. I gave you the opportunity to back away and stop your shit, and you didn't take it. And no, I haven't talked shit about you at all. It's all been you. It's all been on you making the offensive moves here. So you're not a victim. And you should really think carefully before you make these moves because you clearly don't have the intellectual capacity to back what you claim. Like just here at this example right here, you were just fucking owned, like severely to the point where I don't even think you're capable of understanding the extent. And if you continue, it's just going to be more of the same. Like it's not going to be like what you think in your head. Like and again, it all comes back to you. You're to blame. Like, why do you have to lie about shit? Why is that necessary? Like, if you and your like values and the things that you claim and being a good person, etc., if any of that were true, all you would have to do is point to things and back it logically, and you've won, right? You can't do that because you know that it's all lies. So all you do is just throw out random insults and attack people, which shows that, yeah, you like you can't hang with the big boys, so to speak. And that's not an anti-female thing, by the way. That could apply to anyone. It's just like don't pick fights that you can't even come close to fucking winning. You don't have what it takes. Thank you for your time.